instead of France, should actually be Germany that would be the best option to get a sub-tree in the last patch. Well, let's talk a little bit about it. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons, make sure to subscribe. And today we talk a little bit about Germany and how actually Germany is one of the nations that is in the most need of a sub-tree. Yes, Germany suffers and all that meme can actually be a thing, you know, like Germany is very, very strong in the tank department, but in the aircraft department, it is a nation that is very limited in the options available for actually being added, you know. Of course, while it was divided between East and West Germany, it actually had a bunch of options. You know, it was still limited somewhat, but it was like okay, you know. But now East Germany has fallen basically, right? We don't have any other options for East Germany, and West Germany only has basically one option, which is the Eurofighter. Maybe in the far future the F-35, but in a soonish future it is the Eurofighter. And while we don't have that, we have to fly with the F4F, and a lot of people know how somewhat bad this aircraft can be in top tier, right? It is a very fun aircraft to fly and very different, and for sure it is probably one of the best third generation jets in the game, but it's still not on par with the 4 generation jets that it will be facing when it gets to a top tier match, right? And I gotta say, it is kind of a problem that there is no solving besides actually adding a sub-tree, which is kind of funny because then we have France, which is also suffering from that already got one sub-tree. Italy, that was suffering from that as well, and they got a sub-tree. But Germany is the one that I think is the most, like, in the most dire need, because Italy, although the Gripen is probably the best fighter they have, they had the F-16, and if they want to, they could actually upgrade that F-16 to actually carry the M120s and be a very high BR aircraft, right? While France already has the Mirages, which are amazing as well, right? But at the same time, Germany, like I said, doesn't have anything for now until the Eurofighter, and since the Eurofighter was denied because it's too good, it kind of lacks options, okay? So what would be the options available for Germany? Well, there aren't that many as well. The Dutch and Belgian air forces were added to France, so that takes that out of the way, which kind of makes sense. There is Poland, but I gotta be honest, even though Poland would be somewhat controversial, but at the same time pretty interesting at the same time, wouldn't bring anything too crazy to the table. I mean, there are some aircraft that would be very cool to see in that tech tree. For example, of course, the F-16, right? They do use the F-16C together with heavy MiG-29s that were from Germany, and they are buying F-35, so Poland could be an option. The Swiss Air Force could actually be another one. You know, it's a country that it doesn't have a big, large air force, but they always used very modern stuff, right? Back in the day, they used to use, you know, aircraft that were, I mean, they still use, right? But like, for example, the F5, the F-18, so that would be interesting, the F-18C, and of course on order with the F-35 as well. So there are many, many options out there. But I do believe, and of course with older aircraft as well, it increases the amount of aircraft that they can have. And like, for example, I think there isn't any other good option out there. Why? Because both of these nations are already in the German tech tree. Polish tanks are already in the German tech tree with the Leopard 2PL, for example. Although, yes, it is a German tank, but it is a Polish version out of it, right? So it could actually be that. And the Swiss already have the Hunter F-58 as well. So it would make sense to have a mix between the two, or even something like that. To be honest, there is a funny little thing that Gaijin actually said that happens in the game. If you go to the tech tree of the German Air Force, you can see that there is already 5 like lines of vehicles on the normal tech tree, and they said that they need to change the whole game or something in the coding of the game to be able to add another one. So that's funny, but at the same time it would make sense to add the Polish and Swiss aircraft as a subtree, but not in the normal way that we would see it, right? Like a full tech tree from a low rank tier 1 aircraft, rank 1 aircraft, until a rank 8 aircraft. It would be mixed in between the aircraft. So for example, they could actually add the F-16C below the F4F ICE, for example, with M120s for the Polish Air Force. They could add the F-18, for example, in below the Tornado IDS, which is more or less the heavy fighter. I mean, it's more or less like a multi-role kind of situation. It's not really there, but you know what I mean. Or even below the MiG-29G. And then, of course, add the F5E between, like, I don't know, maybe the F104G and F4F, the normal one. So they could add just basically the aircraft in between, intertwined with the other aircraft that we would see, right? But again, it's an aircraft. There are many options out there, especially for top tier. It brings a little bit to the table, you know. For example, the Polish F-16 would be the perfect gap-filling aircraft between the F4F ICE and the Eurofighter, right? Because the F4F ICE is not up to par to be a 13.0, and the Eurofighter is too good for now for the game, according to Gaijin, right? So the F-16C, we already have it in the game. Firing M120s, it would make sense. F-18 goes in the same direction. Of course, we would need to have something like that for the US and the Finnish tech tree, you know, subtree as well, but it could actually be added, right? But yeah, guys, this is my opinion on it. I don't know what you guys think about it, but honestly, it's not that Germany suffers in this case. They have very good fighters. The MiG-29G is pretty good, the F4F is pretty good, and all the aircraft below are pretty good, but it's the real first time in a while, you know, that Germany really is lacking behind in the sense of having a top tier. They used to have the MiG-23 MLA, which was fine when the MLA, MLD were the top tiers. When the MiG-29 was added, of course, it took a little bit more time, which is arguably not the best, but at the end of the day, they had these top tier aircraft, the MiG-21 MF, the BIS, the MiG-19S. It took a while, but they were there. But now the F4F, it took a while and it's not up to par. So let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.